There are traces in the mind of spaces that we long to find, spaces between beginnings, spaces between ends. These are spaces between moments.
It is a lovely day. The morning weather is a bit cool, but not cold. It will warm up later, though it is not expected to get hot. The sky is partly cloudy, allowing the first beams of sunlight to shine down on the forest we will be hiking through. We've gathered a good group of friends to spend the day with together in nature. But first, breakfast. James is scrambling eggs and warming tortillas. Amy is frying up bacon and cooking vegetables in the fat. Michelle is cooking corn and potatoes in a fire below a pot of chili. And we are brewing and pouring coffee. Obviously, we have the most important job. As food is consumed, the group becomes a little quieter. Spirits are high. It isn't often that we can all get together, so the atmosphere is festive. We glance around at our companions, anticipating the shenanigans to come. After breakfast, we load our packs with food, jackets, first aid kits, and water. We sync up apps on our phones to share our GPS location with the rest of the group. Since there are 15 people in our party, we split into 5 groups of 3. We test radios and plan to rendezvous at the parking lot at 6:30 this evening. That will leave an hour of sunlight to collect any stragglers. We take a few more selfies and head off into the forest. At first, our group is all together, though it doesn't last long. Only 5 minutes into the trail, and Jin is collecting mushrooms beneath a pine tree. They rinse and distribute the mushrooms to several eager parties. "No thanks," says James. "I'd rather just smoke." He produces a hand-rolled cigarette from his shirt pocket and lights it. He then passes the joint around as he lights up another. The madness, we think. It's going to be one of those days. We can feel it. As we approach the first major fork in our trail, we must make a decision. We can head south toward the river, west into a dense forest, or north towards the top of the hill. Most already know where they want to go. Jin and their group head south, along with most of the others. James and his group head north. Our group takes the remaining trail west into the forest. There are waves and hugs as we separate. Everyone is smiling. Everyone is happy. We look at our companions, Michelle and Molly. They are just as excited for the hike as we are. We make small talk about what animals we might see and want to see. Molly asks about Gin's mushrooms. Amanita muscaria, we tell her, the Mario mushroom. Sure, it can be poisonous, but we trust that Gin knows their stuff and we'll all be fine. We wonder what other mushrooms might be growing around here. About 45 minutes into our hiking, and we all start to feel the buzz. The others are feeling it too, judging by the messages in the group chat. Gin's group has stopped at the river to fish. The other group with Amy, Mark, and Minda are continuing on. James shared a picture of a fox. It seems their group is doing well, except for Max, who's tripping balls, as James puts it. The silence of the forest is calming. There's the buzz of insects, chirps of birds, and the crunch of our footsteps. Otherwise, it is silent. Michelle is in the lead, followed by Molly, and we are in the rear. The bags feel a bit heavy with the extra food, water, and supplies we carry, but we are doing well and enjoying this experience. We aren't talking as much now. Eric caught a good-sized fish, and we look forward to maybe having fresh fish for dinner. A couple hours in, and we decide to take a break. Molly is feeling tired. We look for a place to sit, and Michelle points to a clearing. "How about over there?" she says. We all head to the clearing. There's something very odd about it. It doesn't fit into the forest that surrounds us. It is a broad, flat, and black area. As we get closer, it looks like a paved road. How could a paved road be in the middle of the forest? When we reach it, we see that it is indeed a paved road. It seems like a new road. It is very smooth and uniformly black. "We must have taken a wrong turn somewhere to end up back at the road," Michelle says. Molly takes out her phone. "According to Google Maps, there's no road here," she says. "It shows the trail we've been on, and it looks like we are almost due west of where we parked." Michelle checks her phone, as do we. How can there be a road here? Where does it go? We decide to take a break. We take a picture of the road and send it with our current location to the others. We lie on our back on the pavement and look up at the sky through the canopy of pine trees. Clouds drift lazily by. Come on, let's check it out, Molly says. As long as we stay together, we'll be fine. We repack our bags and make sure we don't leave anything behind. Then we head down the road. We three walk side by side now. The pavement is wide enough for 2 cars. It stands in stark contrast to the forest. We begin to feel that something is off, not necessarily wrong, just off. We look around and notice the silence has deepened. We no longer hear the sounds of animals or insects. We don't even hear our own footsteps. We walk in total silence. I lost signal, Michelle says. Me too, says Molly. We have as well. That's weird, we say. We don't use the same carrier. How did we all lose signal? It's just a dead spot, says Molly. It's normal. We can still see our location on the map. The map that says we are on a road that doesn't exist? We ask. Try the radio, Mal. Mindagin, Jamie's, Alex, can you hear me? Molly says into the radio. Nothing comes back. Maybe we should heed back, she says. What's that? Asks Michelle, pointing to a structure ahead. It looks like an old fortress. Stop, Molly shouts. She's shaking. Stop, stop, stop. This can't be real. This can't be happening. What's going on? We ask. There's a path in the forest that leads to some old castle-looking place. It's just like a nightmare I keep having ever since I was little, Molly says. We're walking in your dream? Michelle says. I don't know, Molly says. It just feels so familiar, and I'm starting to freak out because if it's my dream, there's what? We ask. We hear a noise, the first noise we've heard for some time. It is something moving through the trees, something large and heavy. It's getting closer. Run! Molly screams as she bolts past us and back down the paved road. Molly, stop! Come back! Michelle calls. We look at Michelle, and she looks at us. Without another word, we run off after Molly. Molly! We shout. Molly, where are you? The something is still moving in the trees, still getting closer. We run and run down the road. Each step is getting harder. Our legs burn, but we don't dare stop. Come on, Michelle, we say as we turn to look back. But Michelle isn't there either. We stop running. Michelle, Molly, we shout. And the only thing we hear in response is the sound of whatever it is moving in the trees, very close now. We see trees shaking in the direction of the sound. Our heart pounds as we begin running again. We drop our pack so we can run faster. We reach the end of the paved road and are back on the forest trail. Not much longer, we think. We can do this. We can still hear the thing approaching. It's very close. We don't dare turn to look. We run as best we can on the narrow dirt path until we place a foot a little too far to the edge. We slip and fall. Now we're sliding and rolling down a hill, tumbling down and finally coming to a stop. Everything hurts. The thing is getting closer. We resign ourselves to our fate, close our eyes, and pray it will be over quickly. Dude, are you okay? Jin asks us. We open our eyes, look around, and see that we are still at the campsite having breakfast. We have a pot of coffee in one hand and several mugs in the other. Jin, what's going on? Where are Molly and Michelle? Over here, Molly and Michelle call and wave to us. Dude, you just froze. You were about to give me a cup of coffee and you totally checked out. The weirdest thing is that your eyes were still open. I've been trying to get you out of it for like a minute, Jin says. But we try to explain. We were hiking. There was a paved road and the shrooms. Shrooms! Ah, man. You started without us, Alex calls. We look at our friends and smile. Somehow they brought us back from the spaces between moments.